through. I didn't even check. Yeah, excellent connection. So you just got to push go live on YouTube. All right. Well, we're gonna reel it back in here. Welcome back, guys. It's episode 74, Hero Labs Live. Your host RT at Random Task 555 on Twitter, and it's fucking go time. The market is so hot right now, and it's hot until it's not. So pullbacks for me are for buying on most things. I'm not that interested in Bitcoin right now. I think it is the king. It's leading the way. I love it. It's great. I have a tiny bit left. I've been taking profits mostly to prepare myself to be able to get after these altcoins. But if we're thinking in terms of ROI, because that's it. I'm a trader, and my bottom line is USD. That's it. Stacking sats is nice. Building up my Bitcoin amounts, ETH, all that stuff over the last year is great. But I want ROI, return on investment, what I can get out of a trade percentage-wise. And right now, the best ROI that I can find in the market is not in Bitcoin. So it's as simple as that. I just change gears. Hey, happy Friday, Sheplik. Good to see you over there on TradingView. Chat's a little quiet here on YouTube. Are we sure we're on the right one? Our usual good mornings. But anyways, good morning, guys. Good afternoon. Good evening, wherever you're at. So this is going to be a very altcoin heavy stream. It seems day after day, we're just getting a new Omega pump. And I did a nice little scan of the altcoins on Binance versus USD. And then, of course, once I see a chart that I like versus USD, I go and I check the Bitcoin chart too, because I want to know how it's trading against Bitcoin. But basically, anything that's trading fairly flat against Bitcoin right now is pumping versus USD, because obviously Bitcoin's pumping. And then sometimes you go see a chart that hasn't broken out yet on USD. It's kind of just consolidating. You go look at the Bitcoin chart and it just looks wrecked because it's going down versus Bitcoin because Bitcoin's going up. All makes sense, right? So ideally, what we want to find is a chart versus USD that looks good, is in a nice, reload zone or some kind of like low level in its range. And then you go and look over on the Bitcoin pair and you see that it's not making new lows. It's somehow buy support. Ideally got big buy volume coming in. That's the happy recipe right now. So excited. I can't wait to get to the charts, guys. We're just going to let a few people stream in here. Hello, August. You are on the one that was scheduled. Okay, perfect. Good to know. And happy Friday, Cabroni. So, yeah, I mean, fuck it. Let's get to it. I'm solo today. I've got Invisible Nick here, or the ghost of Christmas past. Left me hanging on a high five earlier. I don't think he's going to be with us today. A little bit out of the juicy Wi-Fi right now. We tried it on Wednesday. The audio was a little delayed and in and out, so you'll have to excuse me too. I just ate some delicious A&W. For those of you who know what that is, it's a cheeseburger. So if I'm clearing my throat every 5 seconds, that's just what it is. Taff, what's up? How's it going? Yeah, guys. So look, I've got a whole big fat list of altcoins that I scanned today. I picked out the ones that I think look the juiciest. We're going to pick through them. We're going to talk a little bit about how you can navigate this stuff. Because when it feels like everything's going up, it can be very overwhelming. Don't think for 1 second that, alt season needs to be easy. It's still challenging. And more than like, here, we're going to flip over to screen share there, John. More than like, it's easy. Like, yeah, there's probably some names right now that I could just park a little capital in, sprinkle it around, and then just like disappear for 2 months and come back, or 6 months, 1 month, 2 weeks, whatever. And it would be fine. And I'd be like, oh, look at that. I made some money. But is that optimal? I mean, for me, it's not, because I sit here most of every day on my screens and I'm trading, and I have an opportunity to squeeze out even more than just a basic hodl approach. So we'll talk a little bit about how I'm operating in that sense. I definitely admittedly overtrade sometimes, where like a big leg comes, first leg breakout, and then I sell a bunch thinking I'll buy back on a dip, and then the dip doesn't come, and I go, oh, if I just left it alone. Yeah, that happens. I write it down. I optimize, I'm tweaking my plan as we go. It's part of trading. But what I want to talk about today is how we can really dig into this in the most optimal way. Because let's face it, guys, this market is only hot sometimes. And right now, for the foreseeable future, it looks like it's going to be really hot. And I want to get the most out of it because I know very well that at one level, probably way up high from where we are now, but someday it's going to turn around. It's going to be boring. It's going to not be volatile anymore. It's going to be a little bear market, whatever. That will come. That's part of not market cycles. I don't think it's really anywhere close yet, but it doesn't really matter what I think. The fact is, we're trading the plan, and the plan says right now it's go time. So let's take a look. What do we got? First of all, let's start over here. This is sort of the I have one screen on my computer basically just for this, and I rotate what's in the top right. Right now it's BZRX because I picked some up during this, like in the last hour or two. So I'm curious, if it dips more. I've got some more bullets to fire, but I'll show you why I'm excited about that one. And it's not like some secret big super play. It's just a really good looking chart. So I've got Bitcoin here. Not a ton of excitement on the more recent highs since last night, right? Last night it was looking a little bleak. I actually had a friend call me. He's like, "Hey, should I sell Bitcoin?" I said, "Well, not on this fucking dip." So it's a bull market. Even if it's going to switch to a bear or whatever, consolidate back down to 20K, whatever, it's not going to happen in one candle, right? So when you get this big candle last night that kind of shit everyone's pants because we already had the one bounces up and then you get another one, everyone's like, "Oh, this is it." Well, that's just not really how bull markets work, and it's not really how market transitions work, right? Even if this does crap out and it came all the way down here, there's so much buying power right now because it's a bull market. And so even if we were going to, because of course, someday we have to transition to a bear market. Someday we have to transition to, a retrace, whatever. But in those times when that happens, you can still usually get out on a really strong bounce. We've talked about this a lot on the stream, right? So like even last night, you get that first move down, this big dump. And if you really want to short, wait for the bounce. Look at that short reload zone, risking against the highs. You got a nice low risk window and boom, that trade actually hit. I was on a call during all this most of the afternoon. And again, I'm not really looking, I'm not sitting here on my leverage charts, looking at leverage trading. Like that's not my goal right now. The time that I do have for the screens is mostly dedicated to hunting altcoins, making calls, networking, all that stuff, looking at pre-sales. So yeah, this was a perfect little setup. Again, if you wanted to short this thing, scalp it. But my buddy called me during the second candle down. He's like, "Hey, what do we think about Bitcoin? I was going to sell some up here the other day. Like, should I be selling now?" I said, "No, honestly, don't. Like, even if you want to sell this, like if, capture your emotion at this point here and say, okay, I want to sell, wait for it to get back up into a short reload zone. Cause if it does roll over, like really roll over, it's going to visit a whole bunch of these reload zones, like short ones on the way down." And then I was like, so wait for it to get up to like 39.5, 38.5. And then if you still feel bearish, then sell it. Well, I don't know what he ended up doing. I think he did end up waiting for the bounce. Got out around like 38.9 just for like one Bitcoin. I think he's got, it's like a partial exit, which is never a bad idea after you've been up like multiple X. Anyways, really nice move today. Kind of unexciting in the volume. Like, yeah, some nice buy volume came in, but point is today's going to be focused on altcoins. That was a long story. I don't know why that stretched so long, but look, we got ETH BTC, really strong bounce the other day. Now trickling down into the pump chaser zone. Looks like it's gearing up for round two. Got ETH versus USD. Looks like, trying to put in some kind of top. Like if you want to be a bear, you're going to be like, oh, look at that. A high, a lower high. Now we've got a clear breakdown level. We'll see what the 4 hour says. Probably a stronger level to pay attention to would be this one. But again, not really worried about this stuff. And I'll tell you why. We're going to get into that. And then we're just going to dive into charts all day, guys. Really excited about those. Bitcoin dominance, we talked about last week, could come up. And in fact, might actually be nice for it to do that, where you come up and get some other kind of lower high. So I'm watching this closely. As you can see, I did anoint this a new risk on window because I am taking big risks in the market. not big, but like my usual 1%. Like I'm back on to risk on, whereas through this I was mostly just stable coins, Bitcoin, ETH. So watching this really carefully. Whatever this does, we don't want it to make a new high. 74%. That would mess up a lot of the plans. It's totally possible. So take all my excitement today with a grain of salt. Always managing risk. But look, up into this short reload zone, that's where I would hope and expect this to stall out. And that actually kind of fits because we've got ETH BTC at a pretty decent little pullback level, touching on these EMAs, sitting in the pump chaser zone. This is a little bit weird and ugly looking. I just wanted to see all the levels clearly. So I picked random colors to put it on, but yeah, like this thing is just kind of retracing through the levels. So if it does go to a second leg up, that's your breakdown on Bitcoin dominance. And then we see all kinds of craziness like this. Really sick setup. So I woke up this morning to this, which was really exciting because we put this out on Twitter. We put this on our TradingView ideas section, which, the ideas section was quiet for a while because honestly, I just didn't see a ton of good ideas. Like my bread and butter is like alt seasons and when alts are hot and all that. So we went quiet for a bit because if I don't have something good to say, I'll just shut up. As far as like trade ideas go, one of the worst things you can do is just try to trade when you're not really even sure what the hell's going on. So if you guys aren't already on TradingView, get there. And if you're not on TradingView following us at Hxro Labs, please do. Love hearing you guys' comments. If you're commenting there on the actual charts themselves, maybe you guys bring some other ideas. Often a lot of my trade ideas come from other traders. We just, I structure them and put my setups on them. And then it's like, oh, look at that chart. That's great. Anyways, look at this friggin' buy interest. And this was a really cool setup because it was, it was timed really like with the distribution of tokens. Like it was an event where you just get told when the trade will happen. So for a long time, we've been waiting for the big distribution on Solana and, bearish into that event, which makes sense because people are expecting all of this stuff, but it's almost like sell the rumor, buy the news in this case, which is the opposite of buy the rumor, sell the news, which is something most people know pretty well by now if you've been trading at all. Mainnet launch is coming up. So it's bullish, rallying into the event. And then as soon as mainnet launches, oh yeah, a mainnet doesn't mean suddenly there's new demand. Oh shit, we got had again. And then it just sells off. Sell the news, right? Well, on the other side, if you have a negative event, you can actually get sell the news or sell the rumor, buy the news. And that's exactly what we've got here on SOL, Solana token. And so when I see this bullish market structure coming in at the lows, right? These are basically like all-time lows versus Bitcoin. And then I see big buy volume start to come in. Bullish market structure confirms. We're back into the reload zone. This right here, again, never anything that's like guaranteed, right? But when I'm taking risk in the market, when I can buy something in a zone like this, after, sort of that sell the rumor, buy the news scenario, I even have evidence on the chart that bigger people than me, bigger accounts than me are buying large amounts. That's where I want to get long, all right? With the smart money, the big money. And, it happens sometimes, like you get these big breakouts like you had back here, and then it just trickles down. Cool. But what a beautiful opportunity this had. And then, of course, waking up this morning like Christmas Day all over again. So we'll see. I actually did cut some at this because this is a big SR level. So as far as like scalps go, I cut a little bit. I'm still holding most of the position. And I'm excited to see the pullback if we do get one, because I've layered some entries right along here, like 382.5, 618. So any kind of pullbacks here for me is good news right now, because I am going to buy them and add to this position, just because I think this as a whole just looks like such a strong coin, such a strong pair. And you can see I've got it up here. Let's go look. It's still under $1 billion, which sounds really high, but when you got a high throughput network like Solana, low fees, super fast, and we've heard that before, right? 2017, all the ETH clones coming out, Neo, all these things. Like Neo is actually a good example of one. It did quite well, but Rise. I still remember. I mean, there's 100, right? We're just like Ethereum, but we're faster and better. But what are they missing? They're missing the network effect. Ethereum's only valuable because people use it, and people will use it because other people use it. You can't have a DeFi platform on a network that nobody's on, right? Who are you going to lend to? Who are you going to borrow from? So you got to have some traction. And on Solana, there's 102 projects already building, and they're backed by Alameda Research. So they've got some really good funding. They've got some strong team. I was just looking through their site yesterday. So, best projects in DeFi, blah, blah, blah. Like they've got a lot building on there. So they've got an ecosystem. Anyways, so you get the kind of perfect storm with this one. And if you did miss this, you're sitting here like, well, okay, but what do I do now? Well, look, I mean, like I said, all these retrace levels potentially are ones that I'm going to be looking at. And then if it does break through this is such a big level. I mean, you can look all the way back from day one, right? Support, resistance, 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 breakthrough, kind of chop around, resistance, breakthrough, support, support, big support off the huge sell-off, checked it as resistance, came down, checking it as resistance. So if this does break through here, when I should say, because I'm pretty sure it will, but we'll just say if, when that happens, like there's going to be a check of that level someday. Even if it's like, oh no, I missed it. Oh no, I missed it. Oh no, I missed it. And then like later in the spring, it's just like, like whatever. You're going to get a check of this level on the other side. That's just the way it's going to go. So yeah, retrace levels here. If I don't get filled, I'm looking at the other side of this level for some fillage. And I'm, pretty talk heavy so far on Solana because I just think it's a really hot opportunity. I mean, I think it would have done a whole lot more already had it not been for that big unlock, right? There's just like, well, who's going to buy something when 5x the current circulating supply is about to hit the market? They're just not going to. And not only is it in the past, it didn't even do anything because it was basically priced in, as it turns out. So there's a nice pullback, pump chaser zone we were talking about on Twitter the other day. Great opportunity around 194. And then I was very pleasantly surprised. Obviously, I didn't expect it to be like a 50% banger on day one. But yeah, you got to take chances. Sometimes you get paid off handsomely right away. Sometimes you got to wait. So this one worked out. Like I said, I sold a good chunk of my position this morning, just right up here. And I'm going to load back in or wait for the flip. And I've still got, what I consider a healthy amount left. If I'm just wrong and it just goes crazy without me, whatever, I'll still be there. So that's the other thing we should talk about. Ooh, a Cominda. Pew, 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 choppas. A lot of dollars. Rick Ross. Okay. We got some rap scene in here, guys. Good to see you all. Nicholas, welcome back. Thoughts on DP and share, please. Yeah, we'll talk about those. I've actually stepped away from them like mentally for a week just because it's neutral rebase and I'm seeing opportunities elsewhere. I've still got my share bag. Falcon Swap had a mainnet launch today. Looks like somebody sold the news. It's actually a great trade. A lot of guys in my trade room were sitting there like, can someone, can we just buy this like 16-cent level? Because that's going to just be a sick bounce trade. So here's, here you had it. Buy the rumor, sell the news. Same thing. Falcon Swap is building something that's going to help scale the swap experience, speed it up and lower its fees. So actually pretty bullish on that idea through this year because look, let's be honest, guys, for the most part, ETH is unusable for a lot of people. Even this morning, what are we at right now? If you don't know this site, check it out. It's gasnow.org. And so if you're ever sending transactions, they actually give slightly accurate live data on what you need to get your transaction through here. Sometimes on Uniswap, they're just off a little bit. So I use this now. And I mean, look, our average is like 96. I'm like, ooh, gas is low right now. That's still like a $20 transaction. So, and then anytime you get volatility in Ethereum, which we even just had a little bit of this morning on the hourly, I looked over during this hourly and this hourly drop, the fees just spike. They explode. It's like 250, 300. And if you get bigger volatility, like the other night when we dumped like this, forget about it. You're paying $150 if you want to do anything. So it is becoming unusable for anyone that's trading something under thousands of dollars, which many of us have no doubt experienced already. And so I'm bullish on solutions to that. ETH 2.0, yes. 1 year, 2 years, 3 years out, sure. That's going to be great. Ethereum in general, very bullish, yes. But am I bullish on swapping things for $80 a pop? And knowing that if I'm ever in a situation where I must sell or I must buy and something's very volatile, that I can get my transaction through? No, it's going to be jacked up. I want to pull my liquidity during a time of intense volatility, it's going to cost me $250. So I'm bullish on Solana because they are fast, they are cheap. Serum is their DEX. I actually haven't used it yet. That's the thing, right? What's the point where I say, okay, screw it, I'm just going to go there. Look at this chart. If we inverted this, I'd be like, that's so fucking bearish. It's going to dump crazy. But it's not inverted, and it looks bullish as hell. So came right into this fib extension level, which I had marked in my chart. I did not actually take profit in there. At this moment, looking back, I'm like, oh yeah, I should have just had like a couple orders working. Because again, if I'm sitting here all day, every day trading, like even in the bigger moves, I can probably do some nice I'm taking my long here, taking some profits here, reloading some profits here. I can trade the shit out of it because I'm around. But for a lot of people, the best thing to do, checking your trading plan. Your trading plan has to align with how much time you have, how much knowledge you have, how much money you have risking in the market. For a lot of people, loading up in these kinds of little zones and then just chilling. You come back, you got kids, you got a job, whatever, you're not paying attention too much, you're just watching Twitter, watch a little YouTube. And then, I am fairly confident that this fever that Bitcoin has brought into the market, this insane rally that we're seeing, I'm almost certain that that's going to flow. And I basically am, but I don't like saying in things into absolutes because then you just set yourself up to sound like a fool and over risk. But I'm fairly certain that this is going to come into the altcoin space. What does it start off, right? Should I buy Bitcoin? Text, all these, what we call normies. Should I buy Bitcoin? All this stuff. And then, pretty soon, because we're seeing on the leaderboards right now, let's see if we can actually pull one of that up. You're seeing Hedera. Sadly, I didn't get this out as like a call, but I did long this one. IOST, like as soon as we start seeing these yields come back on these trades, and you're seeing coins that are up hundreds of % in a week, people aren't going to text you to ask you about Bitcoin. They're going to text you to ask you about altcoins. They say, what altcoins should I buy? So I think we're actually heading out of should I buy Bitcoin season, and we're heading into what altcoin should I buy season. But it doesn't start all at once, right? Alt season, that shit that everyone talks about, that stoic Bigfoot of a thing that we all talk about, that's that shit, guys. Oh my god, I hope we get to live through that this year. It just is insane, and it's not easy. It's almost stressful because every time you go to sleep, you wake up and you feel like you missed a huge opportunity. You try to go have dinner with somebody, have a nice night out, and it's like, no, month's rent not earned because missed trade. Oh dear. But it's an exciting stress. And at the peak mania of 2017, Bitcoin was rallying along with altcoins, rallying versus Bitcoin, and it was insanity. There's a new website out, and then people go to the site, obviously because it's new. That just stirs up just enough interest that people start to look into the project and they say, man, this is promising. It's crazy. And it 10x'd in the next 2 days after like a new website. That's all that the site had to do to draw on eyes, see what they were doing to give the people an excuse to buy it. And so anyways, so hopefully we get there. But Serum, Solana, probably my two favorite right now. Also got some Ren, and we're going to get into some more ideas. I see the chat's buzzing away, guys. I'm going to get there. I'm just trying to get my thoughts out here early. Ren looking primed. Look at this consolidation. For anyone who's looking at, if you just search the leaderboards, you're going to always feel like you missed it. And you're going to set yourself up for stupid things like buying, something like this, which at this point you should not. Well, actually it's pulling back now, but like generally speaking, with all the opportunity that's going on, like, I woke up this morning and I see this candle here. I'm like, oh shit, that looks cool. I wish I caught that 2x, but I didn't, and I can't do anything about it. I'm not going to go buy the top to try to, So if you just look at leaderboards, you're going to be feeling like you're left behind. So join me today, as you have, and we'll share my scan. I got a nice purple list here of all the coins that I think, they all look good. I'm sure at some point it's going to be genius season. Everything goes up. But for now, I want to look at things that are still way down in their patterns. Like, Troy Troy looks like it's waking up. Look at the volume coming in on this thing. In fact, the biggest volume came in here when price had barely moved, and now price has started to go. Have I missed it? Well, on the hourly, yes. You know, it's a tricky sell for me on the hourly to be buying up here. Where do I risk to? All the way down here? Like whatever. But in general, I'm looking at the dailies, and I got this list of ideas that I think, I think there's a pretty high probability, without even checking the BTC pair, that this at some point, whether it goes like this first, but at some point, the charts like this are just going to at least ending up in places like that, where you get this counter trend rally up into the zone. At best, it's alt season, baby. Let's go. Whole new fucking world. Things we can't even imagine right now. Like, that's why people are like, is there euphoria in the market? I'm like, no, not even close. We're just getting out of disbelief. You got to ask yourself, I mean, what phase are you in? If you're euphoric, great. That's cool. That's really good, actually, because euphoria is a great feeling. And it means you're doing well. But I'll tell you, I'm just coming out of disbelief personally. I spent a lot of time disbelieving things like ETH over 1,200. I don't know why. It seems obvious now. Bitcoin at 40K. Like, you kidding me? I'm still in disbelief in some ways. But for altcoins, all that shit, no, we're not in euphoria. And so therefore, in the whole market as a whole, we're not in euphoria. No. So I would say get ready. Ask yourself, Masai's talked about this a lot on his streams. If you guys watch any of his stuff, just this, like, what do you want from yourself? What do you want for yourself this year? I wanted to get a new PS5, but I realized I don't even play my PS4. And I can't do anything, the one thing I guess would be good about playing video games is it, like, you can't fuck anything up, right? So it's like plant some seeds throughout these bottom range lows and then just fuck off for 3 weeks, like, 3 months, whatever it's going to be. That's okay. Go play video games. But in general, like, what do you want for yourself this year? Focus. It's time to get your trading plan together. If you haven't put one together, it's time to start thinking seriously about this, because this opportunity, what's kind of on the way, most likely, it's going to be fucking incredible. And you don't want to miss it, and you don't want to, like, fuck around and not be optimized. At the very least, when it's all said and done, you just want to tell yourself you did everything you could to capture as much as you could. And basically, what are we here for, right? In that sense, we're here to extract value from the market. Take it from the market, put it into our account. That's the dog-eat-dog world of trading. And an opportunity is basically here to do that. And it doesn't last forever. So, okay, rant. SXP, the coin everyone loves to hate because we all got wrecked on it. Well, got news for you guys. It's looking pretty good. Buyers are starting to come in. We're sitting at a key resistance. If that breaks out, it'd be pretty violent. Getting that retest, I'm interested. Again, 8 days out of 9 here, like basically green. I don't know that I'm rushing to buy that, but KNC. Okay. So Heel said something important here. Let's take a look at the ETH USD long open interest. Holy shit. Somebody is offloading their long. Oh my God, Sohail. No kidding. Let's look at this thing. Oh dear Jesus. So that's long open interest. So somebody is closing their long. Oh my God. Is Chadwell exiting the market? Jesus Christ. Oh, Sohail. Oh my God. Thank you. I saw your urgency, so I was like, okay, before I continue my rant, better get the hell over there. What are we doing on this thing? Pump chaser zone. I mean, you can't really TA this, but it's weird with fibs. It actually just kind of works because fibs are like this mathematical formula of the universe. But oh my God. Okay, so for the context, guys, basically this is a chart that Nick and I have been tracking since back here in February. Well, we tracked it starting in the spring, but the interesting part started in February. And basically there was a Chad whale, we called him, who was just loading up long exposure at every dip. So all these major rises happened during big dips in price. So every time it dumped, long interest went up. Oh, market dump again, long interest goes up. Market dumped again, long interest goes up. And so that was our evidence that somebody, smart money, big Chad player in the game, whale, whatever, they're loading this long through the whole year. And we said when it rolls over, we're going to want to know what's going on. Holy shit. So yeah, that's interesting. I'd be curious to know. I mean, this is a data feed direct to Bitfinex. So let's go look. Let's go look at the Bitfinex. I mean, you can't see it on the chart. So I wonder, very curious. I mean, this is vicious. I don't think you could have that with no real reaction chart. I just wonder if there's something else going on here. Like, I don't know. I don't even know. God, where's Nick when you need him? What could this be? I mean, it's long exposure, long margin basically being repaid. Who knows? Maybe they're just like adding margin to the position. I don't know. But I mean, it doesn't really have anything in price. But it's interesting. You know, I talked about earlier, I said it looks like somebody's trying to put a top in the market here. And if they were, you know, that's something you'd be looking at. Although we were looking at the 4 hour. So maybe that's a hint of what's to come, guys. Maybe I should just cool it with all my bull talk for a bit. I don't know. I mean, I'm pretty pumped about these altcoins regardless. I mean, this is a Bitcoin pair, right? So when you get a Bitcoin pair, this is a large sum of capital, AKA whales, smart money, and they are moving Bitcoin into Solana. They're making a big bet that it's going to outperform here in the next little while. I tend to side with those kinds of positions. But I would not be shocked at all. You know, never too shocked when you see, you know, things roll over a bit after a nice euphoric run, nice big pumpy run. I mean, I don't think we're in full blown market euphoria at all. But is this parabolic? Is this crazy? Yeah, it is. Hell yeah. So I don't know, guys. That fucks with me a bit. You know, when you see this, I really want to look into that. Maybe I'll message Nick and we'll see what he thinks. You know, he's more into the analytics side of things in the innards of the market. Be very curious what his take is on this, because this is ugly. That's like a 30% drop in 1 hour, or 1 day. Really, one candle. So that's the other thing. Like, there's just no way. This looks like something changed in their books. That's what that looks like to me. I don't know. I mean, I certainly see nothing in price to reflect somebody closing that much of a long position. Right? To open a long position, you have to buy. To close that long position, you have to sell. Who's selling on Finex? I don't see any of it. So I'm actually pretty suspect about this. I don't know about that. Looks like bullshit. But you know, not to be a moon boy, we shouldn't ignore data when we see it. So we'll look into this. I'm gonna ping Nick after the stream. We'll see what he thinks. Okay. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't worry. Yeah, no, I mean, they're accumulated so much down here and through this. This to me looks more like a glitch in the matrix. We see that sometimes on the Bitcoin dominance charts, but hey, good to keep an eye on those things. Let's get back to business here. Solana, you know, versus Bitcoin. And here's the thing, like, I'm talking about the overall too a lot, where it's like, hey man, it's going to be alt season. It's going to be all this. It's going to be all that. Even if that's the case, and I'm friggin' super confident that it might be, you know, if that's the case, I'm still managing risk on my positions. I want you guys to keep that in mind. You know, I had the opportunity, obviously, to buy a fuckload of Solana down here, but I didn't. I actually bought a chunk around here, and then I actually had bids like, I think I put a bid right at the low because I just thought I wouldn't put it past Sam Bankman-Fried to come in and just sweep those lows and then run it, or, you know, Bitcoin just pumps a bit and then we get a nice little sweep of the lows. Like, I actually had a sizable, like, you know, a bigger bid down here. But, you know, point is, if any one of these trades, or even technically if all of them at once just get kind of wrecked, 30%, 40%, I mean, it'll sting, but it's not going to ruin my account. I'll always be here for another day to trade. And I want you guys to remember that, to do that for yourselves. Never put yourself in a position where the market can take all of your money, or even more than 5 to 10% of it. Like, I say 10% because, like, any one trade, 5 is the absolute max that I'll ever risk. But sometimes, you know, you're long on like 6 different Bitcoins or 6 different altcoins. You know, you're going to get hit on all 6 at the same time in some cases. But let's talk about BZRX. Look at this thing. YFI heated up earlier this year, then CRV came after, then Sushi went after, and BZRX kind of caught part of that wave. So when I see YFI doing what it's doing, For those of you who didn't notice, it's pumping. We talked about it on Monday. Remember on Monday I had this, somebody asked about it. I said, yeah, well, it's consolidating. It's a pump chasing zone. It's probably going to fucking pump. I didn't long this one, but I was very pleased to see that it broke out nicely. Even gave like an extra day just hanging out here and then just went zoop. So, breakout, consolidate, explode. Stay with me here. I'm getting to the point. Sushi, not even really, just kind of like working away. I mean, I still remember this day. What a crazy dump. Imagine picking that up. I mean, there's some guy sitting around there with his friggin' bids in the reload zone saying, oh my God. And you're already up basically a double. So sick. And then you can just sell half, have your free position, or just whatever you want to do. It's your plan. So sushi is going crazy. CRV, not so much yet, but you can see the volume is rising. So without even looking at price, I'm like, okay, big buyers interested. Then you got to ask yourself, okay, and same kind of thing. First breakout, down to the reload zone, breaking out of that. So it looks pretty good. And then, so all that to say, I see a trend in the market or a pattern, and then I ask myself, well, what comes next in that pattern? And I think it's BZRX. I think there's a pretty good chance that this thing's going to follow. It's like one of those DeFi. I couldn't even tell you what it is, but it's basically like a DeFi thing. And it caught a nice tailwind after those last ones pumped originally. So when it's done its consolidation, bullish market structure right here, starting to break out again, dipped into its own little reload zone. So I longed it here, actually pretty close to where it's at, 22 cents. And as you can see here, I have more bids below. I put an alert there that says filled. So if that hits over the weekend or something, I'll be like sitting with a little more even. Because where's the target on this thing? Oh my God. It's got to be a nice fib extension from this rally for me. That's pretty good. Where's my risk reward? Just say I get filled down here. So I'm going to be like around the midpoint. Probably going to risk to those lows. And then I could just risk or, take my profits up here at the 618. Oh my God. 5.5 to 1. I'll take that trade every day. Now that's a big drawdown, 31%. So don't take that lightly. I mean, I can't size up the way I might if I had a 5 or 10% risk window on the trade. 31, you're going to be looking at losing a third of the capital you put at risk. So it's got to be less. But, you stand to gain 5 times that amount if it breaks out. So I like those odds. I took the position. Nothing huge, but there you go. Let's go check the chat. ETH USD longs. Yeah, no, total craziness. I've never seen something like that. Ocean. Yeah. Comienda. I agree. I think it's a glitch. And, even if it's not a glitch and like, I'm sure TradingView is pulling whatever data they're getting from that. Oh God, I don't even have the chart anymore, but yeah, I mean, Bitfinex could have just changed something where, I don't know, they took some open interest, moved it around, like moved the books because it was like one teleport down and now it's just flat again. So it's something changed. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe it is somebody offloading a massive amount, closing up their long, and we're going to put in bearish market structure and it's going to be like, oh my God, the world is falling. And we're going to go all the way back down to 760. It's possible. I actually saw a really good tweet yesterday from BTC Jack Sparrow, a good buddy of mine. He's on the show before. You guys probably know him. He said, oh God, I just got to do it. I got to go check. I don't want to misquote him, but it's a good one. It's a good one for us to talk about here. Because in a time when it seems like everything's basically there for the taking, which I think it is, it's even more important to do this. Yes. Let's go check this tweet. Identify what can go wrong, assume it will, and strategize to avoid it. That's so important. That's risk management right there. So even as I'm excited about Solana, I have to strategize with what will go wrong. Well, Bitcoin could absolutely moon, and suddenly that 5x supply actually does hit the market and this thing rolls over. Ha, it was a scam. We're actually going to dump for a bit. Like, yeah, that could go wrong. I got to assume that it will when I go to take my position. Don't assume it's going to go up because then you'll size over, you miss your risk, right? So I'm assuming it will. So I have to size accordingly. And then strategizing to avoid it. Well, yeah, I've already closed a good chunk of the position. I'm going to buy on these retraces. If it blasts through, I'm going to be buying on the retest to add back. But for now, this is a winning trade. The amount of Solana I have left is free. I've taken all the money out of this trade already, which in a month, I'm probably going to laugh at myself because it's probably going to be a lot higher. But, this is this thinking right here. Just assume everything will go wrong. Check your bottom line. Make sure that is safe. That's playing from strength. That's what we talk about all the time. Play from a position of strength. That's what that means. So anyways, let's get into a few, guys. Let's check Ocean. BZRX I'm excited about. I just think this chart looks fucking ready. I mean, look at the rising buy volume here. I expect I could see a big buy coming in. We'll see. Ocean. Yeah, and this is it. These are the ones I like. Oh my God. See, look at that. Huge rise in buy volume. Price has not reflected it yet. Great eye. Who suggested this? Encomienda. You're my new best friend. I say this every stream, guys, but honestly, the best ideas I get, honestly, a lot of them come from you guys. Then we can put them together the best way we know how, see if our own setups can align with them. So we're not just blindly copy trading. And if it works, fucking long it. Follow your plan. But every trade you take, just treat it like another trade. Don't ever go for it. That's a great way to end up in the poorhouse. Looking back at everyone else during alt season going, oh no, I went for it on week 1. Just don't do it. Don't do it. God, I don't even put this together. There's not much chart history. I wonder if we can get some more. Tricks. Ooh. Is this the same one? Looks like it. Yeah, we should be charting over here. Let's just start at the weekly. Yep. So that's nice. Get this big breakout. Okay, I'm real. And then you just get this nice big lazy ass consolidation. So continuation from here would be fairly explosive. Probably looks something like this. It's like a 3x. Don't think it can't happen. Let's find out. I'd be inclined to go candle body highs generally when it comes to this kind of trend line stuff. And that would give us something like that. Something like that. Who knows? I don't really trade triangles. I use them. I write them on my charts, but I don't have like a setup about them. So this looks really good. Whoever brought that up, that's your Twitter. Okay. Dope. Well, whatever you did, Ocean looks good. This is a weekly chart, guys. Cannot stress you enough how much more exciting it is when you have a bullish setup on a weekly. And on a daily, it looks like it got rejected here today. So it's not quite ready, but that's actually good. That gives us an opportunity. And then again, what can go wrong? Assume it will. Plan against that. So what could go wrong? Well, is a fake out and it breaks down here. I mean, at the end of the day, what can go wrong is that Bitcoin just decides, fuck you guys, I'm going to dump for a bit. That really will suck a lot of the life out of the market, even though it won't be the end of the world. It will just be part of a healthy growth cycle. It will shit all over every setup everyone's ever, it's gonna, if it does anything nice and easy or violent, I'm screwing up my chart here, but whatever. Let's just do it. Where did Bitcoin come down to? Well, this is the last major base that it had. So let's measure from there. Let's go see. I mean, yeah, what would really screw things up? I can't believe that the 382 is $29,000 right now. So this would be a totally normal retrace as part of a bigger bullish market. And I actually think that that's more likely, like not necessarily here and now we go there, but like when we roll over from whatever local highs we're about to put in, whether that's like up to here to 50K and then it's like whatever, I think that there's like this will be a multi-leg bull market, So when everyone is like crying like, oh, tops in, I told you so. And for weeks they're sitting there like, I told you that was the top. When that crowd gets really loud, keep an eye out on these reload zones, these retraces, these pump chasers, because I think this is going to be a multi-leg bull market. It makes sense. And if you look at actually one of the things I wanted to do today was go back and do a little replay through 2017. Not fully, but let's just go look because I'm already seeing it. So you guys got to remember, I mean, we always talk about this, like in retrospect, you're like, oh man, 2017, that was so sweet. Look how easy it was. Everything went up. But remember, each one of these peaks was like an all-time high. So let's try to relive that for a minute because we should. So it's January. This is the all-time highs, previous all-time highs. And, it's like, oh no, big drop after breaking the all-time highs. Okay, now we're off. It's February. It's May. Bitcoin is pumping. Now look at this. At that time, this was an insane rally. I mean, imagine that. These are daily candles. You wake up, Bitcoin just keeps making new highs. Oh my God. And I will never forget this pullback because this was actually the day that I crammed all the money I had in the world into Bitcoin. And it wasn't a whole lot. It was like 2K Canadian. And then like a little bank loan, which you should never do. I tell you that. My buddy's like, oh, I got a credit line. I'll use that. And I was like, oh, good idea. It was a terrible idea. It worked out, but it was very stressful. It was not the way you're supposed to do it. And I've learned since then why it was such a stupid thing. And I probably could have done fine without it. But for what it's worth, I was calling my bank all this week, freaking out, telling them like, get it in there. I'm missing. They had everything on withholding, right? Holding. Finally, I get it. And I just like market buy Bitcoin. Hadn't looked at a chart in my life. And I wake up the next day and it was like a Friday. It was like, pop goes the weasel. Bitcoin drops 30% overnight. Rah! Oh my God, I shit my pants. Anyways, people were calling tops. Was it the top? Nah. Then you had the summer. This was the Bcash drama, right? Bitcoin was going to die. The blockchain was going to be over. The miners were going to choose Bcash and this chain would cease to exist. Well, that didn't happen. Thank God. And, we continued. Now, each time this made new highs, think about this. This is 40K, right? This is 45K. Like these were essentially the same relative power of these levels. Just think, oh, it was only $4,000. At $4,000 at the time, unheard of. Bitcoin had never been above 5K. So when it tapped 5K, just like I expect it will if it ever taps 50, you got a big sell-off. People thinking, oh, that's the top. That's the top. And was it? No, but there was a huge dump for days and days and days and days, like 10 days straight here through September. Actually, this was the China ban. China banned Bitcoin. China banned Bitcoin. Then it regained, really nice retest to that level. And as soon as this level broke, we're off. New highs, right? So my point in all this is like each one of these was a parabolic advance that looked like it was over. Parabolic advance looked like it was over. And I mean, really looked like it at the time, like big multi-day, multi-week drops. But at the end of it all, it went higher than anyone ever imagined. It was like, holy shit, I can't even believe it. Oh my God, right? And when it finally ended, it was kind enough to give us an exit. I didn't know how to do this charting shit back then, but after weeks of dumping, it came right back up. And if you were keen enough to spot the ridiculousness of this parabolic blow off top, I know a handful of guys over at TRI that were actually exiting in this short reload zone, paying themselves. Had already been paying themselves, but whatever, right? And so there you go. So point being, at each time that this thing kind of rolled over a bit, somebody somewhere was calling tops. They were saying, that was it. It's been fun. Oh my God, like it went so high. We went all the way to 7K. Even right here, I think when we first touched 10K, there was a little rejection. But so if you fast forward to today, is whatever the top of this current impulse we're on, is that going to be the top of the whole cycle? I don't think so. I think a very low probability of that. But it's going to look a lot like it for weeks at a time. And so that's why during these big crazy moves where everyone can't even believe what's happening, we should probably just speed this up. Nobody wants to watch that whole replay of the last 2 years. But yeah. Did you guys get what I'm saying? Does this make sense? Let's get back to the altcoins. Sorry, guys. I got a big tangent. Let's just cancel the replay. So point is, this looks so friggin' exciting, and it is going to have a local top at some point. But at that time, you can expect, at least what I expect is like something like this, and it's like, ooh, and then it's like, wow, and then another one, wow. And by the time we're actually at some kind of like cyclical top, it'll be something ridiculous. I think outside chances of 330,000 Bitcoin. Just saying. That's the fib extension of the whole last cycle, and I wouldn't be surprised if it hit. because that's what fibs do. Okay, yeah, hit us up with a like and a sub, guys. Okay, let's get over here. So Ocean. God, I don't know. I get on these tangents. Y'all got to reel me in. Oh, Troy's breaking up a bit here, a little more. So 12% today. Okay. So, keeping an eye on things like Troy. Because if this level breaks, that's not the end of the move. That's the beginning of the move. So I can't long it from here because where the hell am I going to risk to? I got no size. But, let me get through this resistance. I got myself a nice trade right here. Something like that. Or even, right down to like a pump chaser zone. So we'll see. Troy, RLC. I put this on here because even though, again, a lot of these are past where I can buy them this moment, this amount of volume speaks to a much bigger move. So again, I'm not racing in to buy that. But I'll tell you what, it's on my short list. And every time there's a dump day, the next time Bitcoin makes you think it's topped and it's going to be a big sell off and all the hell's breaking loose and the world's coming to an end, those days I'm going to come to these short lists and find the dips on these charts. So planning ahead of that. So on those dump days, instead of just staring at the chart and measuring all the money I might have made if I had sold the day before and all that crap, I'm actually just going to be sneaking over to these charts and, look at RLC down here. Oh my God, like versus Bitcoin. This is what's so exciting, guys. I mean, versus USD, yeah, cool. It's already up a nice chunk. It looks like it could have a whole other leg up, right? You can see this is pretty standard, picture perfect. This was the March lows, bubble in the summer, come back down, reload zone. We're taking off, big volume. I mean, look at that shit. So is this thing not going to make another leg up on this bigger time frame? Seems unlikely that it wouldn't. What does that look like, right? So yeah, love this chart. And then what I love about it, what's going to turbocharge this, even if Bitcoin does go sideways or roll over, look at the Bitcoin chart. And is volume rising off the lows? Yep. Showing signs of potential reversal? Yep. Sitting at the range lows with an increased volume? Yep. And so even within the realm of just like a counter trend rally, which is what I always make my first idea of a target, this thing has got some incredible upside potential, right? Some shit like that. That's the Bitcoin chart. So what is Bitcoin doing while all that happens? And then how will that reflect on the USD chart? Well, who knows? But the fact that this one is primed and this one breaking out with huge volume, that's a really good sign. So dips are for buying for me on RLC. And I've never actually owned I exec. No idea what it is. I'd have to look it up someday. But for now, I'm just trading the charts because they're all looking fucking tasty. JST, this is like Justin Sun token. I don't know about the token, but I put it on here because it does have a rise in volume. It is sitting at lows. These are the kind of shitty charts you want to buy when you think the whole market's about to get a big FU rally. Instead of storage, Kyber. Where's KNC Bitcoin? I had it on here too, yeah. I mean, look, not making new lows. So as Bitcoin's been rallying, this thing's been keeping up with Bitcoin. Look over on the chart and you can see that on the chart. It's been rallying. This caught a DeFi bid in the summer. So swap, atomic swaps, all that. I think it could do well. How do you hedge your BTC position? Don't want to sell my BTC. Yeah, so that's a really good question. Dirty Sanchez. I can't say that name with a straight face. Basically, the way I hedge it, so just say like my whole portfolio is worth 1 Bitcoin. Then I will go on Binance personally, but there's a lot of exchanges you can do this on. And I would take a 1 Bitcoin short. And I would do it on a certain amount of leverage, as low as possible, ideally. So you have to put up some collateral. And then that covers you, right? Because if Bitcoin drops, the amount that it goes down, you made that amount of money. But if you're sitting in a bunch of altcoins and there's a big drop, you're going to lose at a higher rate than just Bitcoin. So if I have a 1 Bitcoin portfolio and it's just 1 Bitcoin and I can take a 1 Bitcoin short, then I'm hedged. If it goes up, my Bitcoin rises in value. If it goes down, my hedge pays me off. The risk is then if you go and get stopped out and your hedge now gets stopped out, you just paid a premium, which a lot of traders do, right? You buy some puts, they expire worthless, but that's okay. It was your insurance, 6% insurance costs, whatever. But if your if your hedge gets blown out, then the market drops, you're like, well, fuck. So it's not as easy as it looks, but generally speaking, it's just a 1-to-1. So if I think the top is in here and I don't want to lose any value in my portfolio when it's going down, but I also don't want to sell my crypto, then I would have to take the amount of my portfolio and short it basically. Fully keeping in mind that whole entire position could go underwater and get liquidated, but that's okay because the rest of my crypto went up in value. It gets trickier when you have a bunch of altcoins in your portfolio. Typically you want to over collateralize that. So if you have a 1 Bitcoin portfolio, which is like, God, I'm using that as a small example. Suddenly that's like 40K, but just say whatever your portfolio is, you got some altcoins in there, you got to over collateralize. So just say I had that 1 Bitcoin portfolio and I want to fully hedge it, but it's full of altcoins. It's like 50% altcoins, 70% altcoins. Then I probably need to short something more like 1.5, 1.75, maybe even 2, some larger amount because they have more implied volatility, more volatility built into them. So I hope that helps. It's a tricky business. I'll tell you that. I've never had too much luck trying to hedge my portfolio, to be honest. Most times it just gets blown out and then I regret doing it. But the professional traders I know, every single one of them works with hedges. They buy puts when things get really crazy like this, far out puts from like, let's say March or June. They're buying Bitcoin puts that basically will pay off. They'll be in the money, making money if Bitcoin's below, 35K, whatever it is, 30K, 40K. And a lot of those times those puts expire worthless, but they keep them on all the way along. So at any time there's big market drops, they know that they're hedged and those will pay off. It's basically what they consider a 6% insurance fee. So I hope that helps, Dirty Sanchez. I won't get too far into the specifics on that, but I hope that gives you a nice general idea. I will just say this, it's not, it's something you should look more into. Based on what I just said, it's not quite enough to go and do it. But that's the gist of it. All right. MPH. I keep hearing about this one. Let's go take a look. Fire Protocol losing momentum on this downswing, which is good. I mean, it's a bearish swing, so losing momentum means potential reversal for what it's worth. Fire Protocol. First thing built on Huobi chain. Let's see how that goes. MPH, doesn't look like it's doing all that much, which is usually a good time to get interested, right? I like getting interested in things when they're quiet and no one's talking about them. So this fits the bill. I mean, in the 8-pit, there's a lot of talk of MPH. I don't know about the staking, the inflation, all that stuff. So I'm purely basing this on a chart. But yeah, you know me, guys. Nice big rally down into the pump chaser zone. Because I don't know what the coin is and I wouldn't really have the balls to hold it through any major downside, I'd probably get chintzier with my entry and buy into this reload zone if I could. At this point, it looks kind of likely. If I really wanted to make sure I didn't miss it, I would set alerts here so I know to set my bids below. I would set alerts here so I know I missed it. I might have to chase for a small bag. But for now, it's got a nice little trend up and it's pulling back. But yeah, I mean, if you if I was waiting through all this to buy, and I was just like, man, when's a good time to be starting to, like, this is my first zone where I would certainly be like, oh, now I can, get in at a fairly strong position, somewhat of a pullback. And then my primary entry, I mean, we're like what? We're 30% off the highs. That's a great time to be thinking about starting a position. And then my main position would come in here. That's really playing from strength because I know that if it goes below here, I was just wrong. It was not bullish. Get the hell out. Eat shit. Take the loss. Move on. Next one. So, oh God, am I on the wrong MPH? Oh Jesus, I am. Sorry, guys. Hot mess. Oh no, nope. I'm not. Take it back. Oh yeah, they're the same price. No, MPH 88. Yeah, it's the one. Dusk. Yeah, Dusk is on my short list. Let's go take a look at Dusk. It did make the short list today because look at that shit. Yeah, I mean, seeing so much of this, like what I'm showing today, you guys, oh, they all look the same, but they do not. There's a lot of shit. There's a lot that just don't. I mean, Ant actually could be like really. I'm just looking for anything that looks like this, but ideally, I want more volume. So right now, I don't see a ton of evidence of big buyers stepping in. That's just you might get there. It might be a good entry, but you might wait months. Like there's a lot on here that didn't make the cut for one reason or another. Like this one. What the hell is that? I don't want that. I don't want that. Right. Atom though, much like Dusk, looking good. Actually, Atom is in a really interesting spot because it's even pulling back after confirming bullish market structure. So I actually have some Atom from around this level. I think I actually bought it even a little bit higher just to get in the other day. I just picked a little bit up because I thought fucking interop, blah, blah, blah. For my long bag for the year, I need some Atom. But I'm on a more of a swing trade basis. I'm really looking at this is the zone. There you go. We're in the pump chaser zone. And I'm always thinking like I'd rather get a reload zone. That's like the bane of my existence. Which one? I wouldn't be. I honestly think I could get this. At least I'm willing to bet. So the bag I have now is not that big. The bag I'd like to have lives down here because then I can get some size and risk against that low. Because we're getting a lot of these, right? Big rally through the summer. Never really broke down. I mean, broke down here, but then just kind of been consolidating. And when it breaks out of this range, look out. In all of those cases, I think we're going to be headed to some kind of like fib extension of that whole friggin' summer rally, which is so sexy. So the sexy. Hxro. Yeah. And if I'm missing, guys, like if I miss something up there in the chat, I'm solo today, so I'm not getting as good a look. So feel free to like double ask if you already mentioned one that's above, because I'm not gonna back upwards. It's just waste everybody's time while I'm looking like an old man over here with my reading glasses trying to see the chat. So just hit me up again if I missed a request from the last 20 minutes during my big rant, or one of many rants. Hard looks good. Again, what you want to see, right? You want to see the big buy volume coming in. Said a seizure. Yeah, I don't know what to say about this other than that it looks good. I mean, that's what you want to see, right? You want to see something at the range lows, getting a bid, nice, slow, declining sell volume. Oh, look, we ran out of sellers. There's no one really to sell. Oh, buyers are stepping in, reversal. So I don't know what hard is, but there you go. Coming into that reload zone. Can we get that reload zone over the weekend? Don't know what to expect this weekend. It'll be telling what we get this weekend. If we get tons of altcoin rallies through the weekend, you could be like, oh, retail's here to stay. And to get that. And then Monday, they just come and shit everyone's pants again. And then we build it up next week and rally through the weekend and then shit everyone's pants on the Monday open again. It seems to be the way that these markets work historically. So yeah, hard looks good. MTA is waking up this week in general, I noticed. Perps. Let's get the perps. I know our resident MTA bull, Messiah, still holding on, and he's going to be very likely handsomely rewarded for his patience. I didn't have the patience. Back on stream when we lost $5, I was out. I think I traded it from like 6 to 7 and then got the fuck out. I didn't trade this too heavily. But after we lost this level, me and Nick were just like, oh, watch out below, negative price discovery. And I didn't. I actually had one trade on this during the break. I think I longed it around here, and I had my stop loss at $1, which was just asking to get taken out. And I was. And I'm not back in yet, but this chart does look good. It's the life of a trader. Take your shots. Sometimes you eat shit. Key is when you're rewarded, you got to be rewarded way bigger than when you eat shit. When you're giving money to the market, just give a little. When you're taking money from it, take a lot. Set yourself up to do that with this tool. I actually saw a thread on there on Twitter once where guys were hating on this tool. They're like, is this tool just for noobs or like, am I crazy? I was like, no, definitely not. I know a 30-year vet taught me everything I know, and he uses this thing. It's just a tool. Measures how much am I going to lose? How much am I going to gain? Does it fit my criteria? If so, send it. If not, get out. If your setup is looking like this, it's gross. Yeah, I might win $1, but I'm risking $1 to do it. What's the point of that? Make sure you're getting paid 3-1, 4-1, 5-1, 7-1. Otherwise, it's not a good trade. Unless it's like an insanely high probability. Like 1-1 works if it's a coin flip. Even then, where's your edge? I don't know. So yeah, looking at Atom, let's go through the list some more. So the point is, there's a lot of shit. Like Band looks really good. Could easily be on my list, but it's at resistance. It's kind of missed a move this week. I think there's a bigger picture here. Band's going to do really well and blast through some of this shit. So actually, I will add it to my list. I take it back. Let's go see the rest of the purple list, though. MTL, good old metal, 2017 OG. Do you think that looks like it has some room for upside? Again, if you flip this over and looked at it like inverted, like it would be so bearish. It's like, oh God, the floor is going to fall out on that thing. And in this case, I think it's about to blow the roof off here at some point. So I'm looking at these kinds of coins. Yeah, I actually love this one on second glance. I picked it because of the volume. I just like to see any kind of upticks in volume off a low. Just means that there's like guys can't hide that, right? They're like, I'm buying a huge bag. Everyone's going to see me. So you want to, I like to step in where I see evidence of big money. Kyber actually looks like shit versus Bitcoin right now. Not a huge amount of buying right there, but whatever. Dusk looks really good. I still remember this summer I got out on this candle. My stop loss hit, triggered me out of my stop in September. So haven't got my Dusk back yet though, but I like the level. And here's the thing. I was talking about this yesterday. Like typically we get alt seasons like in Q2. Doesn't mean we have to, right? Like last year we got it in the summer, which is unusual. So maybe we're just advanced now and we're getting it earlier in the year for each thing or later. But point is, I look to Q2 for the big FU rallies. So we could be in for this kind of stuff. Even as like, oh, are we going? No. Are we going? No. Yeah. And then, and then Q2 comes along and it's like May and it's just like, Wah! So keep that in mind too. And that's actually why, and let's get a good example of what the hell I'm talking about. Big vet last year. This is what I mean. October, November, December, January, February, like, this kind of meandering bottom formation where, yeah, you got a really nice rally, but pay yourself because you never know. Came right back to breakout. Obviously, that was the big March dump, but point is, bottoms tend to form like that, in the sense that they take some time and they get all that pent up energy, all the weak hands out, all the strong hands in their positions, like take the roof off of the thing and then it blows off. So yeah, could see this being like we get some really nice alt rallies that last for a week, but then ultimately just spend a week being shitty again. And then eventually, I mean, much sooner than that, I guess it would be more like April, May. Like I could totally see that. And so with that in mind, it's even more important for me to be selective. Not only selective, but then like aggressive, profit taking. Because here's the thing, like I could build some pretty nasty positions here. The hell? I had a chart on here. Oh, there it is. I could build some really nice positions here through the next few months so that when that big FU rally comes, I'm not just holding the Solana that I bought here and hoping, and for 2 months I watch it go up and down until it finally moons. But I bought and I sold and I bought and I sold and I bought and and I'm building a bigger position. That's my strategy. It's a little more aggressive. I have the time and it fits my plan and I have, learned how to do that. So that's actually why I cut as much of the Solana as I did this morning, because I think it's going to have a much larger move, but I'm not convinced that we're there yet. And whether we are or not, this is a profitable trade now. So whatever, that's just it. I mean, look, are we in a major downtrend on dominance? Nope. Have we even technically broken down into this risk on? Maybe this was premature because we're back above it now. So, caveat emptor always. Let's look at a few more, guys. We must be near the top of the hour. It's feeling, getting there. KNC had been favorite of ours. Yes. Yeah, KNC guys are asking over on TradingView. It's on my short list for sure. It's not. It's yeah. It's again as far as like bottom formations go. We don't have one here yet. We just have like a half of one because we've talked about this before too. Like, what do you really want to see to say there's a floor in the market, there's a bottom? You want to see a W, and you're going to see a break of that midpoint. And ideally, you want to see that on a weekly. Do we have that on a weekly? Not even close. See here though, we had it on a weekly, and boy, did it have a payoff. The patience. So yeah, in that sense, further to the point I was making, God, I'm so high and low and high and low. But at the end of the day, guys, I'm super bullish on this stuff. But sometimes when I teach it and talk about it, I realize that even I'm jumping my own guns here. But I mean, yeah, like generally speaking, in a market where we're super bullish like we are right now, and you see a formation like this, and you start to look at entries and you start to buy dips and build positions, generally speaking, that's a strategy that pays off. Because I'll tell you what, nobody's going to call you and say, hey, I heard about this cool coin Dusk. Should I buy? But if this thing rallies, that's the exact phone call you're going to get right up here. Somebody's going to call and say, hey, I heard Dusk is really cool. Should I buy some? And you can be a good friend and tell them, nope, sorry, you missed it. I just sold my bag, made 4x. And the funny thing is, in 2017, things were going 100x. What does that even look like on here? Jesus, that's like $5. It's like, God, I didn't even want to fathom. So, and this is where like it's so important that I use my trading plan. Cause like, yeah, I mean, God, imagine a year from now, this is what the market looks like on some of these things. And I'm just sitting here like, oh, I was buying and selling and buying and selling. And now I don't have my bags and I missed it. So it's important to have a plan and, commit to it, stick to it. But that's shit's not out of the question. That's what's kind of crazy. I mean, it's going to be a little harder to move the market up the way, relative to 2017, because there's just more capital. It takes more money to move the same percentage, but I think we're going to see some really crazy shit. I just don't know that it's all right out the gates here, but I don't have to know. That's the best part. This trading plan is built for all weather. Wing looks really interesting here. Charted this one earlier for myself. Breakout, nice volume coming back into the reload zone, just kind of parked here, unassuming, nobody's caring, nobody's looking at it. And we're getting some sick rallies right now. We just go look at like what's already happening. I mean, look at who the hell knows what the hell CTX is. I don't know. Never heard of it. I'm sure there's a few people around that are willing to tell me, oh, it's the next best thing. It's really cool. And that's not to say it's not, but that's the same story for most tokens. But like I never heard of it. And look at it today. Basically 100%. HBAR. God, I feel bad. This is one, I don't feel that bad. We've talked about this one a lot on stream. I took a shot on it. I don't know, somewhere up here, lost, stopped out. I think I got stopped out twice in this thing so far. But thank God I went and picked some up at like 3.6. So I actually chased a little. I think I bought like here, or whatever it was. It was 0.036. And then, I wake up this morning. I'm like, holy shit. So I actually sold half of this position because I missed my double. My double was here. I thought, you know what? I'll just sell half. I got a nice bag now. It's basically free. But HBAR, man, Hedera hash graph. This thing, again, can we get another leg up? Probably. And yeah, so, sick volume coming in. There's so many coins out there. There's so many opportunities right now that I felt, with Solana this morning, HBAR, they're both up kind of big. I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to shave some here so I can go plant it in some of these other coins. Just spread my risk out. ENJ, like Solana, right? Like I trimmed a little something here versus Bitcoin. And then, yeah. So I'm not selling because I think it's the top. And in fact, I'm pretty sure I'm going to kick myself for some of these sells that I'm making, but they're profitable. I'm locking it in and I'm planting it in lower charts. So that's why. AVAX, a little bit salty. Yeah, a little bit salty. Been waiting on this one the entire way down. Didn't get a bag. I actually did pick some up in the mid threes the other day and then just basically sold it at like scratch. Don't know why. Didn't follow my plan apparently. And then yesterday it dumped right down, tagged $4. Did I buy it? No. Because I was kind of thinking and hoping and praying that it would do this. And I was going to buy it on that 618. So, wop wop. Really want a bag of this, though. So if you guys see any bags lying around of AVAX, let me know. I'm looking to buy one. I just don't want to pay the top dollar, local top. But this one looks good. I mean, you can see the buys coming in. So any pullbacks on this, I have to get aggressive. Not with size, looking for a quick trade, but like plant some capital in it for the year. This is one for me, like Dot and some others that I want to get for the year. Hey, Mick Menacey. Good to see you, bro. If you guys didn't already know, Mick's a G. Lots of charts. Mick, I should say. One of the few guys who I talked to about this who actually went out and bought this stock when they did an investment and they publicized it with Yop Finance, the big hot new PokeStarter token that's coming up next Monday or next Friday, whatever, the 15th. This company made an investment of $200,000 into Yop. And that was enough to send their stock on an absolute tear because why? Well, because Bitcoin stocks, blockchain stocks, they're all going friggin' ham this year. That's what the markets do. They're just like, they're no better than crypto, right? Somebody's like, ooh, big partnership, and it just pumps. Ooh, blockchain stock, pump. It's all the same shit. Human psychology is all the same. Galaxy's going crazy this year. Bitfarms is going crazy. Oh my God, new highs. Didn't buy this one. Nick told me about this one in the spring or in the fall, whatever. We talked about Bitfarms. I never bought some. Oops. I don't think Nick did either, but holy shit, this thing. One of the top performing blockchain stocks of the year. What is it from the lows, from the W breakout? Like 700%. Cool. This is one I did buy, Canadian mining stock. Trimmed a little more today. Then it kept going without me, so whatever. But that's the thing, right? You don't want to go in and all the way out. So I actually did sell some today at like 688. And then the whole day's been really green for this thing. But I still got a position left, probably 20% of my initial, just kind of riding it out. Riot has been an absolute tear this year. Also holding a free position left there, not selling the rest of that. Because, like, let's be honest, is this all going to be just one big friggin' anthill? Like, look at this thing. Is this going to just be an anthill in 10 years? And I'm going to be like, oh, I sold all my Riot in the first 4 months of the fucking rally. So I'm holding some Riot shares indefinitely now. I almost want to lock them. Just be like, don't let me sell them for like 5 years. Fuck it. Let's just see where it goes. Anyways, sorry, I got distracted by Mick. So anyways, point being, Pyrrhus looking really sharp when they made that announcement. It was kind of perfect because they announced that they were making the investment. And then I looked at the chart and I had inside information on it. I wasn't allowed to trade it myself because I was helping, working with the op team. But it was right on this level. I was like, oh, guys. And then, after the announcement, I was allowed to buy. I checked with my broker. They're like, yeah, you're not welcome to buy London stocks. I was like, fuck. So I didn't end up, but thankfully Mick did. And it's paying off. Holy shit. It's crazy. Anyways, the power of blockchain. So you got to think now, like a lot of other public companies, you can expect there to be a trend. I mean, if that's what it does to your stock price, why not throw 200K of whatever treasury, whatever into some kind of blockchain thing? Buy a little Bitcoin. Like the trend is clear and it's going to continue. So if you hear any announcements about new companies that aren't usually into blockchain making investments, please let me know. Because in the weeks that follow, it's going to moon. But yeah. Okay. Sidetracked. Must be getting late because I'm running out of rants. Let's take a look. Any last requests that I've skipped and I'm being rude and you guys asked and I'm ignoring? Okay. XLM. Let's take a look. This one has been an absolute tear this week. It's so normal that it would be pulling back. This is an old chart, apparently. You can see these used to be resistances. Let's reset that. Okay. I mean, in retrospect, well, first of all, yeah, this is right where you would expect to see profit taking, and that's what we got. That's why I use these fib extensions. So if you ever want to know, like, how high is it going to go for this leg? Where can I, pay myself in my trade setup? go from the low to the high of the first rally, and then have these are your settings. You can pause and watch back later, but it's just 0, 1, and then 1618, 809, and 2. The 809 is just a halfway point between these 2 points. It's not that significant in and of itself. I just use it. And then, yeah, I mean, this is basically my bread and butter for trading. Buy the reload zone, sell the fucking fib extension. Rinse, repeat. Buy the reload zone, sell the fib extension, capture that movement, move on. That's if you can make a trading plan around that, over time, that's going to compound really nicely. I think that's what I'm doing. So yeah, my thoughts on XLM, it's just probably time to cool off for a little bit. There's a few ways that could happen. Could be consolidation, something like that. Or it could just be like pullback, retest, a little retrace, and then go. I mean, we're in a bull market. I would assume remaining bull. We're in the pump chaser zone right now. So for somebody who totally missed this and was absolutely dying for an entry, this is probably where I would say I'm starting to build my position. But ultimately, given all the charts we looked at today, is this the one that presents the most value just based purely on market structure, right? Just had a crazy run, just hit its take profit. Like, no, this one for a new fresh long, this one needs time for me. This is a great trade. It's done now. And now it's time to, but again, that's my plan. You might be holding this and saying, well, I see a ton of upside this year, and you're not wrong. I think that's very likely. I mean, look at the volume coming in. This looks like the beginning of a much bigger rally. But for my type of trading, the trade is done for now. And that's it. That's it. That's my take on chaos. Chaos has taken us way up there if you measure this. So yeah, I hope that helps. I mean, there's a trade in here that is done. There's a longer term trade where, let's get eager when price starts to hit this kind of level. 618, support resistance, 20 cents, 19 cents. It's probably a great place to be planting for the year. Link. Oh yeah, I saw Link was peeking out of bed today. Just looking up, this is a pretty old chart. Probably just start a new one. Yeah, I mean, just a fat consolidation here from Link. I'll tell you what I see, though, that strikes me offhand here is this kind of thing. First thought, I'm just like, oh, shit. That looks pretty bullish. Right? If you just look at it from a consolidation point of view, you can see candle body high, drawn candle body high, extend. Gives you a really nice angle. And then you go candle body low, extend. If you want to get really spicy, you take the extension off and just draw it. But extensions are a little more legit. Anyways, yeah, breakout, retest, go. That's typically how these work. So it's actually a great spot for Link. It's not really my style of trading. As everything I've shown you guys today, this is not exactly the chart that I rush to do that, but I know a lot who do. They do really well. See it all the time on Twitter, right? Oh, look at that breakout. I guess my struggle with this is like, I don't know where to risk to here. I think in terms of risk reward, I'm like, shit, do I just risk to the inside of this triangle? If it goes back in at all, I want out. Do I risk to that EMA here? And if it goes below that, I want out. Do I risk below the point of control here? And I risk below that and I want out? Or do I just take the whole fucking move and then I'm losing half a position? So I don't know. This is not a setup I use, but if I was an analyst looking at this chart, I would say that looks quite bullish. Period. The end. Looks good. That's all I'm going to say. Okay, moving on. Cody. Yeah, looks kind of shitty versus Bitcoin. Obviously, making new lows. A lot of them have been, though, and that's fair. Bitcoin's been absolute rampage. So let's look a little more objectively. This is what I trade against, USD, for the most part. I like when I have a trade on USD that is supported by a strong Bitcoin chart, but most of my trades I'm trading versus USD. Because at the end of the day, that's what I need to pay my rent. Sure, somebody somewhere accepts Bitcoin. My landlord does not. So that's my bottom line. Stacking the melty, gross, inflationary fiat. Even though, I'm also stacking sats because I'm long on crypto. Yeah, this looks good. This looks good. I mean, this looks a lot like everything we've been looking at today, right? It's one of the good ones. Big crazy bubble rally in the summer. Probably, let's be honest, this whole shit in the summer was probably a test pump. And when we look back, later this year, later this quarter, whatever, this is just going to be like an anthill test pump. I'm fairly certain. And we even mentioned that this summer. We say, look, guys, like it's over for now. Big market structure fail here. That was the end of the rally. But if you can be patient, if you can learn to train yourself to get bullish in these reload zones when everything looks like shit. And yeah, I really do think that the overwhelming probability is that this big thing we got all summer is going to end up being the test pump. And then it's just going to be, oh my God, the cat's out of the fucking bag. And it's hard to even fathom right now. You're just like, oh, really? 4x, 5x, 10x, 100x? And this is not specific to Cody at all, just the general market structure of this whole thing. That to me, this was like a DeFi test pump. And then possibly for a year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever the cycle ends up being. And then there'll be another cycle years later. Like all this will just be some anthill in the corner. It's going to be great. Having said that, God, it's so bullish sometimes when I talk about the high time frames, but then we just got to come back in. Let's zoom in. Cody, big bullish breakout, some volume. Yeah, I mean, optimal entries were down, after this breakout. There's retests here. That was your perfect sort of trade entry. What can I do now? Well, got the same thing like we saw on Link. Except for this time, it hasn't broken out of that yet. So I'd be cautious, patient on Cody just at this exact spot. We're at trendline resistance. We're up for 3 days in a row. So really two things are going to happen here. Either it's going to get rejected and the sellers will step in and it'll have to come back at least a little bit and then whatever. Or it'll keep going, get a close above, and then like Link, it'll come and have some kind of retest. Either way, this is a pause and wait and be patient moment. So keep an eye on that. Overall, though, this thing looked great. Big breakout rally, dump into the reload zone, breaking out, trending up. And remember, all these rallies, they start slow, right? So it's like, oh, breakout, not that exciting. Not that exciting. Not that exciting. And then like the steepness, the intensity always is at the end. Kind of like right here, right? Slow build, slow build, slow. Whoa, getting crazy. Wow, getting crazy. Wow, dead. So look forward to that. Let's take a look here. FET. Yeah, I actually had FET up on one of my charts earlier. Same kind of thing. Oh my God. Jesus, guys, this whole market just looks so good. I mean, and this is patience, right? I mean, I have not been sitting here saying this shit for months. I've been waiting. Time has come. I love being a bull. I can only be a bull when it looks bullish. This looks so fucking bullish. This whole market. Breakout, retest. Yeah, exciting. FET's on the short list. If it isn't, it should be. Yep. Right in the reload zone still too on the high time frames. Topping that sweet spot. I love a little sweet spot. Getting long at 702s. That would be like 618. We're up to 683. It's not out of the question, but yeah, generally speaking, if I can be patient and I can take a small enough position that I don't really need to set a stop loss, even just throw 1 or 2% of the portfolio in there. Just let this thing do its work, whatever that looks like. I bet this level sometime in the next, weeks, months, quarter, the probability of that getting a tag is so fucking high. So good. Let's take a quick look at the BTC pair before I anoint this thing bullish. Yeah, see, now this looks like shit, right? But then look, zooming in, there's a cheeky thing going on right here. I'm seeing a lot of this too. First of all, not as significant on this one, but there is some buying happening here, stepping in. But then look at what's going on the 4 hour on the Bitcoin pair, right? This is what you want to see. Little V bottom reversal, rally up, get some bullish market structure in there, come in and test this reload zone. So yeah, for fetch, this is it. If you're not taking risks against lows like this, in a market like this, in a chart like that, what are you looking to trade? If you can't take risks here, like for me, this is what I say to myself. Say, look, I don't know what's going to happen, but if I can't take a risk here, where my 3-to-1 is like still below the point of control, like what am I doing here? If I can't take shots like that, 16% loss, okay, so I just have to size down so that 16% loss doesn't crush me. Short, question mark, fucking darkness. Nope. Any tips for someone who trades stocks daily but wants to get into crypto? Yeah, I mean, RM Shields, if you want to get into crypto, you've come to the right place. We can talk a lot about that stuff. And I think more and more, we're going to get a lot more content that we have to gear towards people who are a little newer in the space, because we have a lot of new people flowing in. So I'm happy to answer some questions. Baby pips, that's more for trading. Yeah, new to crypto resources. Like, I mean, you certainly want to know how to set up a wallet. You're going to want to understand a little bit about how the blockchain works. So when you're making withdrawals, you can understand where you're sending your money to, where you're sending your Bitcoin to, or your tokens to. Not that we're affiliated with them in any way at all, but I personally trade on Binance. If you're non-US, that's a lot easier to do. Yeah, hit us with a sub and a like, all the good stuff. But yeah, if you're new and you just want to get into crypto, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I think you've come to the right place. We've got a lot of really, I scan these things. So if you already know how to do TA, and you just want to kind of follow along and get some trade ideas, I'm all about ideas. We're sharing them here in the chat a lot. Last one, I guess, for today, Dia. So yeah, but long story short, RM Shields, you're going to need a place to trade the crypto. And so if you're non-US, that's probably best bet is Binance for now. And if you are in the US, maybe Kraken. I hear good things about Kraken. I actually personally don't like the UI, but they're allowed. That's a start. You're allowed to trade there. Let's go look at Dia though. This is actually a tweet I put out just before the stream. I'll show you guys why. Obviously, you guys know I was bullish on this one before. Right around here, I was taking some longs. Oh, SOL less than. Okay, so I just got filled buying back some of the SOL that I sold earlier. Kind of saw that coming on the chart just a bit ago. So I wonder what's happening in Bitcoin right now. Anything crazy? Yeah, a little dump. Little pullback. So the coins that rallied the hardest today are going to see pullbacks now, especially. If they're already sitting at range lows doing fuck all, like this won't affect them that much. But if they rally today, they'd expect them to sell now. Dia airdrop January 11th. Is that true? Is that accurate? 8th. That's 3 days away. What the heck's that all about? There's two things that scare me. When an airdrop can be really good, if it's like, hey, if you hold this token, you will get a valuable thing. That's going to lead to a rally. The fact that it's 3 days away tells me it may not be that case unless they just announced it like here. And then if it's a airdrop of Dia token, that's not good. that's bearish, generally speaking, for price. That's something that creates sell pressure. But let's see. Anyways, regained key support, bullish market structure, bullish divergence confirmed on the MACD as it slid into this reload zone. So yeah, perfect world. I'm getting long off the 786, off the 702 reload zone. But I didn't. But I pull up this chart today. I look at it. I say, okay, I got all the things for a setup. Even getting this bullish market structure confirmed now. So the pullback after that is my buy, which started today up around 3. Yeah, basically right around here, 336, I think. I got some before the stream. And then, yeah, I'm loading up. I'm going to probably add right down into this, like as low as 125. And I got to risk to these lows. So keep that in mind. Yeah, if it comes back and we're down below this price next week, it's like, well, I don't even own any anymore. That was it. That was my window for thinking I'm right. If it goes below that, I'm just wrong. It's not a good long. And as soon as I realize my setup is bad, I got to get out, save every dollar possible. But if I'm underwater and prices like here, it's still valid. I'm not getting out, right? I picked my invalidation point. and it is down below. So it's a big drop. So 20%, yes. So I'll do that. And yeah, I'm targeting new highs. I think there's room there. Snapshots from September, mid-December, I think something like 8 million being distributed. Oh. What are they dropping? Is it dropping DIA tokens? Something like a reward. Oh god. It sounds like they might be dropping DIA tokens. That's really good to know. Because that will screw up my trade. And if anything, it's actually still fine, but then I would like, okay, then I don't want to enter here. I want to enter after that airdrop, which is on this day, apparently. Well, the 3rd, or excuse me, the 11th. So if this day is an airdrop, then this chart will probably look something like this. Maybe that airdrop comes out, people sell it because that's most airdroppers do. It's like a free token. And even if you don't want to sell it, you're like, well, I just will because I know everyone else will, and it'll just go down and I can buy it back or something. Okay, DIA tokens. Okay, thank you guys. I appreciate that. So yeah, maybe I need to check myself before I wreck myself. Look into these coins a little more. So I'm going to take a look at DIA then, because if that airdrop's legit, which I assume it is, because you guys are both. Oh, the KuCoin hack. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to do some more digging on that one, because from a purely TA standpoint, this looks really good. But if there is going to be some big distribution and people selling just because they want whatever, then I bet I can get a much better entry. Still bullish, but maybe I'm going to go and change my tactic a little bit based on this new information. Okay, let's flip back to screen here, guys. It is getting well past the hour. I hope you guys enjoyed today. There's my green screen. Okay. Well, we're back to the screen share. Okay, guys. Hanging out to dry. I'm gonna throw you under the bus here, Jono. No, but I think I don't know. Something went wrong on the back end, so we can't switch back to our sexy studio. All good. It happens. Way she goes. Happens to me more than him. Give him a break. Now you guys know I use a green screen. Anyways, guys, have a wonderful weekend. It is Friday. Enjoy it. Expect volatility when the big boys go home for the weekend. Let's take a look here. Yeah. When the big boys go home for the weekend, and I say big boys, I mean like the CME guys, let's say BTC1, it changes. It changes the market dynamic. I don't care. People are like, it's 24/7. It's like, yes, but it still follows kill zones because the CME closes and it opens. Anyway, so expect some volatility, and whatever happens on the weekend, often I find it gets taken back. So if you see this on the weekend, expect this on the Monday morning, and we'll just end up right where we left off. Or if we have a terrible, scary weekend, expect like some big BART on the week, that kind of thing. So let's keep an eye on that. Still going to be trading these altcoins and probably staying pretty aggressive with my take profits early, holding your smaller positions. Is it working? Should we switch back? Okay. My final thoughts. Oh, yes. Okay, we're back. Yeah, so that's it, guys. Let's keep her going steady. Check us out on Twitter. You can follow me at randomtask555 on Twitter. You can follow our Hero Labs account, which mostly is my charts anyways, but from some other spice on there as well, and a slightly different variety. So anyways, you can follow us on there at Real Hero Labs. And if you didn't already and you like what we're doing here, throw me a sub, throw us a like. Lets us know what we're doing. Lets our producer know that you like his studio shot here at the very least. Guy works hard. Let's give him a shout. And we will be back to cover this entire alt season or not, whatever ends up happening. I think it's going to be an alt season, but let's see. We're going to be back covering it Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Oh, and Monday, I've got Q from Layer One, another YouTube channel, coming on here to chat, talk charts. And I want him to walk me through social tokens because they have their own called LADs. And it's an interesting concept, and it's holding value, and they reward it to their community. And so anyways, he's going to kind of walk us through how that all goes, and we'll talk markets, charts, and maybe a little bit about NFTs, and mostly just altcoins because that's what's hot. Breathe in, breathe out. It's a beautiful day, guys. Thanks for joining us, and have a wonderful weekend. Take care, everybody.